Imagine running a business, pouring your absolute heart and soul into building it up from nothing, and then one day, you discover it's no longer legally recognized. You run to the bank to handle a totally routine transaction and bam, your corporate account is completely frozen. Or maybe you're just about to close this major commercial real estate deal and the title company tells you, sorry, we can't proceed. It's literally a nightmare scenario that would cause anyone to instantly panic.
Well, that sudden loss of legal standing is exactly what can happen if your LLC is administratively dissolved in Louisiana. But don't worry. Seriously, take a deep breath. No matter how daunting this whole legal web might seem right now, this explainer is going to be your step-by-step rescue mission. We're going to get your LLC back on track and back in good standing with the state.
Okay, let's dive right in. Here is our roadmap for today. 1. What is administrative dissolution? 2. Gathering your required documents. 3. Steps to reinstate your LLC. 4. Reinstatement timelines and Cs. 5. Preventing future LLC dissolutions. And finally, 6. Important FAQs and next steps. All right, starting with Section 1. What is administrative dissolution? Understanding the state's action. To fix the problem, we first need to understand exactly what just happened. Under Louisiana law, specifically Revised Statute 12-1308.2, administrative dissolution is basically the state stepping in and revoking your LLC's articles of organization. And unlike a voluntary dissolution where you decide to pack it in and close up shop, this is forced on you by the Secretary of State. So why does it happen? Well, usually for one of two reasons. The big one is simply failing to file your annual reports for 3 consecutive years. The other trigger is going 90 days without maintaining a registered agent or a registered office. Now, the state is supposed to send a written warning first, but if they mail it to an old address, yeah, you might not even realize it happened until it's way too late. So, what does this all mean for you? The crucial point here is understanding the massive, real-world stakes of staying dissolved. You're not just losing a fancy title, you are literally losing your ability to operate safely. First off, you lose your corporate liability shield. That means you could potentially be on the hook personally for business debts. Also, banks constantly check the state's database, which is exactly why your accounts can get frozen overnight. Oh, and you totally lose your ability to maintain lawsuits in state courts. So you can't sue anyone to enforce a contract or collect a debt. Plus, state contracts can get voided, and forget about closing any real estate deals. It is a full-on operational freeze. Moving on to Section 2, gathering your required documents and getting your paperwork in order. Okay, with stakes that high, let's shift gears and focus on the solution. Getting your paperwork in order is the absolute foundation of your reinstatement application. There are 3 critical documents you're going to need. First, the transmittal information form. This just tells the state how fast you want it processed and gives them your primary contact info. Next up, the Articles of Reinstatement. This is your formal, official request to retroactively restore your charter, and it usually requires a notarized signature. Finally, you need to submit a current annual report to update the public database with your latest leadership and physical address. Quick reminder, no P.O. boxes are allowed for the registered office. Oh, and one quick side note. If your business actually filed a voluntary short-form affidavit to dissolve in the past, but you still had open debts, you actually can't use the standard process. You'd need a formal court order to revive it. But for standard administrative dissolution, these 3 forms are your golden ticket.
All right, Section 3. Steps to reinstate your LLC. The path to compliance.
Now that we've got our documents together, the actual physical process of submitting them is pretty straightforward. Here's your 4-step game plan. Step 1, log into the Secretary of State's GoBiz portal. Step 2, find your company and fill out the pre-populated reinstatement forms. Now, Step 3 is kind of interesting. Louisiana is very strict about notaries. If you print the forms and mail them in, your signature has to be witnessed by a licensed Louisiana notary public. However, if your parish mandates online filing, or if you just choose to use the GoBiz portal, you can actually skip the physical notary altogether. The system uses a digital verification that routes an authorization straight to your email. Pretty handy, right? Finally, Step 4 is just submitting those forms and paying the required fees. Speaking of fees, let's look at Section 4, Reinstatement Timelines and Fees. Understanding the costs. Now, what's really interesting here is a recent legislative update you definitely need to know about. Under Act 921, effective October 1st, 2026, the new baseline reinstatement fee for a domestic LLC is $125. It used to be just $75, so that's quite a jump.
Also, just a heads up, if you're running a foreign LLC, meaning it was originally formed outside of Louisiana, your base fee is higher, sitting at $185. On top of that base fee, you also have to factor in how fast you want this done and how many reports you missed. Standard processing takes about 3 to 5 business days and doesn't cost anything extra. But if you're in a total panic, like you really need to unfreeze that bank account today, you can add $30 for 24-hour service or $50 for 2 to 4-hour service. And here's the kicker. The state doesn't just hit you with arbitrary late fees. Instead, you literally have to pay the standard $30 filing fee for every single annual report you missed. So you're looking at the $125 base fee plus $30 for every missed year, plus any expedite fees. Definitely check your exact balance in the GoBiz portal before hitting submit. Next up, Section 5, preventing future LLC dissolutions, keeping your business active. So once your paperwork is filed and fees are paid, the state issues a certificate of reinstatement. Boom! It retroactively restores your LLC like nothing ever happened. Your contracts are valid again, your liability shield is back in place. But how do we make sure this never happens again? Well, you're always fighting a ticking clock when you miss deadlines. Year 1 slips by, then year 2, and by year 3, you get hit with that administrative revocation. But pay attention here, because this is absolutely crucial. Once that 3-year revocation window expires, your LLC's name gets thrown right back into the public domain. If someone else scoops up your business name, it is permanently gone. You'll be forced to completely rebrand and file an article of amendment just to reinstate. That timeline right there is exactly why you cannot let compliance slide. Let's build a foolproof compliance strategy to keep your business safe. Consider this your ultimate checklist. First, enroll in the free GoBiz electronic notifications so you get a ping 30 days before your anniversary date. Second, set your own calendar reminders on your phone. Third, always make sure your registered agent's physical address is current so you never miss official state mail. Fourth, just file that annual report on time, every single year. And lastly, make sure you resolve any state tax accounts with the Louisiana Department of Revenue. And finally, Section 6. Important FAQs and next steps. Final clarifications. To wrap up our rescue mission, I want to tackle a huge point of confusion that really stresses a lot of people out. It's probably the most common question we see. Do you actually need a tax clearance certificate to reinstate a domestic Louisiana LLC? Take a second and guess. Surprisingly, the answer is no. Louisiana is kind of unique here. For standard domestic LLCs, the Secretary of State doesn't actually require physical proof of tax clearance to process your paperwork. They'll approve your reinstatement just based on the forms and the fees. But, and this is a massive but, you are obviously still subject to state tax laws. If you have unpaid sales or withholding taxes, which are known as trust taxes, those are considered personal liabilities for members. The Louisiana Department of Revenue can issue automatic tax assessments or even slap your business with a cease and desist order. And if that happens, your newly reinstated LLC is essentially useless anyway. So while you don't technically need the certificate for the paperwork, you absolutely have to resolve your tax accounts. We've covered a ton of ground today, from the real-world consequences to the exact forms and fees you need to regain your legal standing. To sum it all up, by following these steps, you can ensure your LLC remains in good standing and continues to thrive in Louisiana. Make compliance a cornerstone of your business practice to avoid future interruptions. If you do that, you'll be absolutely golden. Just a quick reminder before we go, this explainer is meant for general guidance and educational purposes only. Every single business situation is a little different, so please consult a legal professional, a CPA, or the Louisiana Secretary of State directly for advice tailored just for you. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. I want to leave you with a quick question to think about. What system are you going to put in place today so you never miss an annual report again? That state clock is ticking. Are you going to let a simple paperwork error cost your business, or will you take action right now to regain control? You've got this.